Alright, welcome back, folks. Today I'm gonna build this jewelry box, and basically I wanted to design something and do it without looking at any pictures or anything like that. And so this is what I came up with, and here I'm just cutting the stock down to rough shape, or rough size, excuse me. And now I'm gonna mill it up and get one face flat, and then I'm gonna do one edge flat or square. And now I'm gonna plane it down thickness, and this will make both faces parallel to one another. And along the table saw, I'm making the two sides parallel to one another and 90 degrees to the faces. And part of my design on this is I want to do some sliding dovetails, so that's what I'm doing here on the routing table. And this would basically be the joint I'll use to connect the bottom, top, and sides. And this is making the other side of the dovetail. And since this is a stop dovetail, I need to cut these edges off. Using the bandsaw here, I'm gonna cut those off. And in a moment, you'll see the reason why I did this. And this had to be done on the top and the bottom of each side. And just cleaning up the edge a little bit with the chisel. And this is showing you just how it slides together. There is no glue on it this time. It just slides in and locks in place. And here I am doing the dados for the dividers. Two of the dividers will be for the drawer sections, and then on the other divider will be for the sliding, I guess the sliding rack for where you can hang the necklaces and bracelets at. And you can tell that I am off on my lines there, but it really didn't matter. As long as I was in the vicinity of the lines is all that really mattered. It wasn't critical. And those are the dados for the drawers, drawer bottoms. And now I'm doing the glue up. And here in a moment, you're gonna see where I make a huge mistake. I put the sides on the wrong sides. And being that I did that, everything would not line up. And in one moment, you're going to see that I totally realized this. And anybody who knows anything about wood glue knows that it dries rather fast and it is very strong. So I had to literally beat the crap out of this to get it undone, and I had to do it quickly so that I could also put it back together before the glue dried as well. I'm looking at it and looking at it, and now I realize and at this point I'm hitting it really hard, and it doesn't matter if I break it or not, because if I don't get it undone, it's gonna be useless anyways. Luckily I didn't break it, and luckily I got it put together properly. That was definitely a woosah moment. And here's one of those dividers going in right here. And right now I'm back at the router table, and I'm putting a rabbet along the back edge, and this is where the back of the jewelry box will fall into place, as you can see right there. And I could have done this a couple ways. One, I could have squared off the corners, or because the router does leave a rounded edge, or I could take this backing that I did and round it off to fit in the back, which was what I decided to go ahead and do. And since it was the back was a little bit wider than the stock I was using, I had to cut a few extra pieces to fill in the gap, and gluing that on, clamping it up. And here I'm resawing some wood, and this is going to be the carcasses for the drawers. Take them to the planer to get them all down to the correct thickness. I think it was like 11/16 was the thickness, I believe. And now I'm doing the rabbets on these drawers. Two sides of the drawers, we'll get these rabbets on each side, and then I'll show you in just a moment how they fit together, just like that. And then I'm putting a dado in the bottom of the drawers, and this is so the bottom of the drawer can fit inside there. And this is just the drawer separators. I'm just gluing those into place. And what I'm doing right there is I was taking some sawdust and putting it in the glue there to kind of cover up a couple gaps. And this is basically a stop that I'm using for the sliding rack. And this was something that I did. It's a change that I made during, because while I was doing it, I noticed that this would have been a better option. And what I'm doing is cutting off part of the sliding rack, and I'm just going to leave about an inch and a half on the top and the bottom, just like this right here. And this kept the rack from being able to slide all the way out, and it kind of also helped it stay in the groove and guide it, whereas if I wouldn't have done this, it would have kind of slid all over the place. So this was my way of correcting that. And you can see it in place now, and I'm putting those stops in there, and I'm basically this is I'm getting this glued in there, and once it's glued in there, I cannot take that back out, so I had to make sure everything was good on that end before I did this. Back at the bandsaw now, I'm cutting the faces for the drawers, and I want to have the flow and grain as it is, and you know, just kind of make the drawers kind of look like they're all one piece. And so that was the reason why I did it like this. Just getting it all lined out. Using my combination square there to make sure the edges are lined up. This is very important because if I'd have been slightly off, then that grain would have been off too, and it wouldn't have looked as good. And this is some walnut here, and basically making my own trim. Again, this is the first time I've ever done this, and so it's like it was an experiment, you know. And I'm using the cove bit here to make this trim, and I just did a little at a time. After each pass, I raised the bit up a touch, and as you can see there, it's getting a little bit deeper. And now I'm changing out the bit to a small quarter round over. And here you are. I'm gluing down the trim around the top and the bottom. Using the pin nailer to basically put it in place until the glue dries. And since I'm going to flock the inside of the drawers, you have to seal it up. So I'm using some lacquer here to seal the inside of the boxes, or the drawers. And you have to seal it because the glue that you use for the flocking, it has to, you don't want to soak into the wood. So the lacquer is going to keep it from soaking into the wood. And while that dries, I'm going to stain the jewelry box. And I want to say I used dark walnut here, I believe. And it's not that that is uneven. The reason why it's rocking back and forth is because I've actually got it sitting on a small piece of wood, trying to keep it off the table. And staining the outside of the drawers, wiping the excess stain off. And here is the adhesive glue for the flocking. So any surface that you want the flocking to stick to, you want to coat it with this adhesive. And now I'm going to take the tube and shoot that adhesive down into the box. And I'm just using a straight edge here to find the center. And that'll be where I'll put the little door pull. Or, I'm sorry, the drawer pull. And drilling a hole. And I didn't get on camera, but I did use a Forstner bit there to put a little hole in the the slider there, and so you can use your finger to pull it out. And here, here's my grandson making his debut in here.
Even if you turn the light on,
he's got to go potty, and
wow,
he's a little scared to go by himself because I like it. But I'm putting on the little hooks for the bracelets and necklace you can hang on to. And we're getting close to the end of the video now, and I just want to thank everybody for watching, for subscribing, for liking my videos. Please leave some comments for me. I really feel like this jewelry box came out pretty nice for my first time designing anything from scratch, and I hope you enjoyed it, and y'all have a great day.